Hello everyone, I am Dr. Azra, a clinical psychologist. Today I am going to share in this session something very relevant, interesting and enriching for you, which is much in demand, and as per your request and the request of a lot of people, I am going to take a session on the challenges of parent-child relationship. So let's start with a poem, a beautiful poem very close to my heart by Khalil Gibran on children. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their soul, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards, nor tarries with yesterday.
Slowly.
Okay, so friends, the concern is a lot of parents coming to me for counseling and therapy, and they are very genuinely concerned about their children, and they share that despite of all the things that they are doing for the children, they are genuinely, they want to learn the ways and means how to please the children, how to make them happy. I don't understand what is it that they actually want. This is their complaint, and this is what they are really very very genuinely, they feel that they are interested and they are very anxious about it. They are sharing that I'm doing everything what and they compare it with their childhood, and they feel that they were deprived of so many other things, and they're ready to provide everything to the children. Still the child is not happy, the boy or the girl. So there is no, there is always a kind of resistance on their part, or whatever we are doing, and not able to understand us. Another challenge that the parents are facing, that they have shared, and they keep sharing this, is that the child, they feel very embarrassed when they want their children to participate in the social gatherings, and the relatives are coming, the guests are coming at the place, or wherever they are going to visit in the parties and other places, and the child says that there is a resistance on their part. They feel that there is a kind of social withdrawal these days. They say that the child wants their own privacy, and they feel that their privacy is invaded. See, I'm not comfortable meeting people. So, and the guests are asking about the children. Where is the child? Where is the son? Where is the daughter? How is she doing? How is he doing? And the child is, that's just socially withdrawn. This is how they feel. So they are concerned about what to do in that case, because how can you tell the guest that he is not comfortable with you, and that makes them feel embarrassed. They say that we feel embarrassed because of that. So this is another issue. Another thing is because I also do the career counseling, I see parents coming with the children, and also educated parents, and all kind of learned, and they have their wise and intelligent. Still they feel that it's a career is the one issue which they have the biggest conflict. So the child wants to do something else, and the parents, they suggest that the parents also feel, and it's not inappropriate, that they feel that they know their children better than the children know themselves. So they feel that why he or she is not trying to understand, because I'm thinking in his or her welfare, and the choice of career, the choice of stream, the subjects, I know he is not able to do well. Okay, there's also peer group influence which they also see, and the child also agrees to this yes, there is some influence, but they want to have their own choice, they want to have their own decision in their life. So this is another area where the parents feel that there is conflict, or there is kind of misunderstanding, or sometimes they say that lack of understanding in the relationship. For this session, we have a panel of 3 parents who are learned and they are expert in their own areas, and they have shared their experiences about the relationship and the evolution of the relationship with their children. There is Radhika Mathur, who is a director in one of the corporate world in Delhi, and Dr. Archana Singh, who is an associate professor in GB Pant Institute, Allahabad, and Mr. Venugopal, maths teacher who was also a former colleague in Rajghat Based School, and now he is in Hyderabad, settled there with his family, and is still teaching maths not only at Indian level but also at international level.
Hello. Parent-children conflict is a very old kind of conflict. Every generation feel that they won't commit the same mistakes what their parents did. But unfortunately, we commit the same mistakes. Whenever our children start growing up, we treat them as kids and we try to impose our plans, our ideas on them. But on the contrary, children feel that they are independent, they can plan for themselves. And another very serious issue is social time is very dynamic, it is not static. So what we try to solve their problems of their time with our tools. But those tools are now outdated. So children are not ready to adopt them. And we try to impose that our tools are the best to resolve their issues. So what I think, we should allow them to evolve their own tools to deal with their contemporary issues, and this is the best way that they can grow independently as a sincere citizen, and this is the best way to resolve this conflict. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Radhika and I am parent to a 17-year-old. Parent-child conflict, of course, is something really inevitable. For a lot of reasons. For example, of course, parents are always concerned about the safety of their children, their future, and so on, and because of which they try and set some boundaries, they give them advice, what's right, what's wrong, and children may not, like or agree with a lot of those things. Second, of course, there is, obviously a generation gap between parent and children, and they will always have a difference in their thought processes because of the exposure, their experiences, are a generation apart, and therefore it's expected. And then there are certain expectations on both sides. Children have expectations from their parents, of course, of their time, love, affection, and of a lot of times certain luxuries that maybe the parents are not able to either afford, or they may not want the children to have those. And sometimes parents in currently busy times probably don't give that much even time to their children. So these are some of the things that can lead to the conflict, and as I said, it's inevitable.
What is some advice that you would give to new parents?
Okay, so actually to both parents and children, one of the major big advice is that both sides should talk to each other. Of course, parents will have to make that effort and make it easy for children to talk to them, but there should be time that they spend together in leisure, and just be able to talk so that the children feel at ease sharing a lot of their issues with parents. And parents should also be able to actually share their limitations if there are any with children. Second, I think both parents and children should respect each other. I think that is a very fundamental tenet of any relationship at all, including this one. And third, I would, both I and my husband, much before we became parents, read The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, and that has, like various other things, one page on children. And that stayed with us, and we thought that is a good principle to live by as a parent, which talks about that parents should give all the love to their children, but not their thoughts. Because children are in the future, and they should have their own thoughts and opinions based on their experiences and what they see and live through. So that, I think, is a really fundamental thing that parents should think about, and maybe if some parents are interested, then they can read it. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Ajradi asked me to share my experiences on parent-child relationship and their challenges. We were colleagues in Rajghat Western School, and she was a psychological teacher and I was the teacher for mathematics. We have very good relationship, and I think it was almost 10 to 15 years we met each other after I left from Rajghat Western School. She requested me to share some of my experiences. I have two children. My elder one is Mr. Rajesh, who has finished his BTech in Electronics and Communications. And my second son is Vikram. He is about to finish his BTech again from Electronics and Communications, and both are from Central University, Karnataka. Now the question is about parent-child relationship and what are the challenges. For this, there is no say a single answer, but the answer is a very simple but very complex to practice. Simple in the sense to speak it is simple, but to practice it is very complex. I say the parent-child relationship is a continuous effort till your last breath. Till your last breath. If you understand the child interest and there is no conflict at all, and how do you understand the child's interest? And in fact, many of our parents are going by, are swayed away by the social influences and so-called career counseling. And I say a parent need not to be educated to understand his child's interest. Here the important thing is that how do we understand the child's interest? There are many stakeholders in this. The parent, the child himself, the teachers, the school and the society. And the prime stakeholders are parent and child. There starts the relationship between the parent and the child. If you do not understand the child's interest, then it leads to a conflict and you don't have any clue how to find a solution. And how do you understand this child's interest? See, there are several factors, but once again I'm telling you, there is no standard solution for anything, but it evolves out as you practice. One is very clearly from your genetic background. You must understand the child's interest comes from your child's background. That is from your genetical background. That means from your parental communities. The second thing is that acquired knowledge, and child would have been exposed to different fields as he comes onto the earth. From his childhood onwards, whatever he is exposed to, And probably in the childhood, we as the parents responsible for the things that are supposed to be exposed to the child. Of course, after certain level or after certain age, that goes to the hands of the child himself. What are the things he is supposed to be exposed? And the thing here is, whatever he is exposed, but definitely for different children, differently and uniquely, they define a particular interest in which he really enjoys his life. And what is that? That is what you have to discover yourself. If you are successful enough in your parentalhood, if you discover yourself, naturally you can give the same capacity to your child to discover yourself. And most of us are experimenting in discovering ourselves, and no one so far, I believe, that one himself discovered himself. So the concern here is how to discover a child himself, and it requires support from the society, from the schools in which he studied, and from the parents, mainly from the parents. And we are under the pressures of very, very several social pressures, unmeaningful social pressures. I say career as a prime minister is as equal to as the career of a farmer in the fields. What is required there? To make yourself enjoy, have some work in hand to work, have something to eat, and have something to wear, and have something to live. And these are the prime needs from the Prime Minister to a laborer who is working in his farms and fields. It does not require the so-called graded education. And we unfortunately or falsely say that this graded education is educating the people. It is never educating the people. One's experiences in his life only educating a person. And that is what we call holistic education. Unfortunately, we do not understand what is holistic education. And the dance, suppose if you dance and if you learn classical dance, you follow the classical principles and all. And if you dance just as it is that come to your mind, that we call it as so-called tribal dances. And here both are educated. And that there we are really missing. What is actually a child? Strictly speaking, it is not only applicable to the child, to every one of our lives in the society. One should understand himself, discover himself, where you enjoy. And the very kind of difficult work for one's life is that the work in which you are not interested, in which you cannot solve. And the work that you can solve and the kind of effort that you enjoy is the only means of happy life. And no other means will bring happiness to you. I hope you understand what I would like to tell you. So finally, keep yourself in the shoes of the child and try to understand what exactly he needs, and do not make it as a conflict. Take it as a challenge. Do not make it as a conflict. Take it as a challenge. I give a small example. A child, say for example, a child of 18 years old smoked a cigarette under the peer pressures, had a cigarette with the company of his friends, and you came to know, and if you make it a conflict, it is a conflict. If you see it is breaking the rules or breaking your systems or breaking your sentiments, then that is again a conflict. And if you really understand the child, what makes him to smoke, or what is his intentions to smoke, is he really addicted to that, or is he trying to know what exactly smoking is? So what I'm telling you, put yourself in the shoes of the child and try to understand, and definitely you will find what your child is, and naturally your child also understands you, and there won't be any more conflict. And don't think it is as simple as I said, but it is as complex as it is to practice. So practice every moment of life till the last breath. It is very much required. Thank you. And this is what my experience and towards my children. And of course, my younger child is now supposed to join in Houston University in America, and my elder son is going to be an Air Force flying officer. And I feel that somewhere I am practicing what I said. Thank you. Bye, all of you. Thank you.
These views and perspectives of the parents were highly valuable and enriching. So listening to this enlightening session of the parents, now we'd like to share some of the views of the children. And this girl Sheetal, there are two people in the panel, two students who are there aspiring for the field, and one is established person, will share their experiences. Now Sheetal is a student of Rajghat Basic School, and she is aspiring to become a doctor. A very wise suggestion for this young generation. I will like to hear to her. And also Gaurav Dwivedi, who is a journalist and a freelancer, and also doing a lot of work in the area of mass communication. Let us listen to them.
If you are building walls around yourself to be away from your parents just because they don't understand you, just stop. The problems are occurring due to the generation gap. Just remember one thing: relationships are not built by building walls around you. Relationships are built by bridging those gaps. Instead of avoiding the communication, try to understand each other to strengthen the beautiful bond. Same goes from the parents. It usually happens that we ignore the child's struggle by comparing it with ours. We may often share our struggles with the child, leaving their delicate shoulders heavy with the burden of loads of confusion. Now is the time to uplift your child, to support them overcome and appreciate their own struggles. I'm sure if these little things are taken into consideration, your bond will never see a fall.
Hello everyone, my name is Gaurav Dwivedi and I am a freelance journalist based in Varanasi. Talking about this topic of the parent-children relationship conflict is one of the biggest things that we face in everyday life. We all have parents, and someday we all will be having children as well. So it is really important to understand how to reduce this conflict. A lot of people, a lot of children, everyone who has got parent, we face a biggest thing that we call comparison. Comparison from different people, comparison from different friends, students, friends of family friends, children of family friends, things like that. And that particular comparison will makes us a lot vulnerable, because there is a thing that comes into mind that we are being played as an asset. And this is where the conflict starts. When there is a comparison, there comes a conflict, because your mind starts to think that why I am being compared? Am I not unique? Because everywhere we listen and everyone says the child is very unique, the child is very different from others. But if there is uniqueness, then why the comparison? And when the comparison comes in between the uniqueness part, the conflict starts. But my friend, trust me, the comparison is not for us to regain the ground. It is not for us to feel demoralized. It is a marker. It is a marker that where we stand as compared to the society. because not today, not tomorrow, but someday we need to raise ourselves and stand on our feet in the society. So they don't consider this comparison of asset as a marker that your parents don't like you. This is the biggest uh, truth. This is the biggest truth that I am going to tell. Your parents love you the most. It is there's no You won't find any parent who for the sake of comparison will stop loving their kid or their children. So if you feel like an asset, don't feel. Just see a couple of days ahead what you are going to be. Today you might be in school, tomorrow you be in college, and day after tomorrow you are going to land into the world. And comparison is the real world job. If the parents compare you, they are comparing you for your own good. So I think with this I conclude my experience of the asset and the parents and child conflict. Thank you so much.
Related to the significance of the relationship between parent and children. This is an important question we must ask ourselves. Do we really love our children? Do parents ever ask themselves why they have children? Do they have children to perpetuate their name, to carry on their property? If then the children become the mere projection of their desires and fears of their parents? Can parents claim to love their children when, by educating them wrongly, they foster envy, enmity, and ambition? Now, my question is, because a lot of children have shared that the parent compare themselves. What triggers their anger, their insecurity, their mistrust is that when they are compared with other children. And this is a very common phenomenon, not with a bad intention. I can understand that all their good intentions, sometimes knowingly, unknowingly, consciously, unconsciously, we compare our children with other children. Do we respect them? Do we really love them? What do we mean by love? By loving them for more than their abilities, for more than their uniqueness that they have, not in the comparison. We show our children that they are much more than the sum of their accomplishment. They are unique individuals. The comparison is a sin, according to J. Krishnamurti. We're comparing the children. We are not respecting their uniqueness, their identities. Do we really love them? If we really love our children, they will discover what is right relationship to property for the possessive instinct. If parents love their children, they will do away with envy and strife and comparison and will set about altering fundamentally the structure of present day society. Okay, and as J. Krishnamurti says, as long as we want our children to be powerful, to be bigger and have better positions, to become more and more successful in the worldly terms, there is no love in our heart. For the worship of success encourages conflict and misery. I am not denying the intent of the parent. For the communication gap and understanding level between parent and children, I will now like to ask questions from the children who are no more children. There are the young men, gentlemen and young ladies. Do you listen to the parent or you listen to each other with complete attention? What do we mean by complete attention? First of all, we need to understand and remember one thing, that our life on this planet initiated because of our parents. Children can learn the parent. Children can leave the parent, They can learn a lot from the parent, but they leave the parent in their old age. But parents never leave their wards. Even if the kids are disabled, they are, ugly, they have physical disability, and I have seen parents taking care of the children who are, mentally challenged, and not mentally challenged to, the border level or moderate level, to the level of, that they are not able to help themselves in eating, feeding, clothes. The parents love their children the most. They have not planned another baby for them so that we cannot give good full attention. I've seen such parents around me who are there. So truly listen. Do we try to understand our parents? Do we go listen to them beyond the words? Do we try to understand? If we listen completely without any resistance, without any reaction, if we just look at our parent, when the parent is complaining about you're not studying, you're always watching TV, you're wasting your time, do we ever look silently without any reaction to their face? We can see the anxiety, the fear, the concern in their eyes deep down inside, and could also sense the love. So what will be your response if you immediately attend to that? You will not react, you will not slam the door, you will not speak loud, you will not shout at your parent, and you will go hug the parent, give a glass of water to the parent and say, don't worry, I'll take care of my future. I'll work hard. Don't worry. Just trust me. Even if you do not agree to the way your parents want you to do, you have your own choice. But how will you behave with your parent? You will go and you will convince them with confidence that trust me, I will never betray you. I will never disappoint you. So ending. So give me away from the wisdom. You say, someone has very rightly said, keep me away from the wisdom which does not cry, the philosophy which does not laugh, and the greatness, I remember, the greatness which does not bow before children. It is for the parents. And the greatness which does not bow before children. And also for the children, it's very important to understand that parents are the only, and you are lucky and fortunate if you have other people also in your life. Your parents, your grandparents are the only pillar of support who are there with you, even if you fail in the exam, even if there is a breakup in relationship with your girlfriend, or even there is after you have grown up, you have quarrel with your mother. The parents are there who will stand by you in your adverse situations. Okay, and deep down inside, you know each other, you understand, and you know that they are there for each other. Okay, yes. So we should not forget that. And as Mahatma Gandhi says, there is no school equal to a decent home, and no teacher equal to a virtuous parent. With this, we're coming to the end of the session. So with tons of love, lots of love for you, with all your good wishes, only one thing I'd like to say: listen and understand each other without being judgmental, without making immediately taking into some hasty decision or actions. Just be with each other. Thank you.